Welcome to Films and Stuff with your hosts, Pete Mitchell and Ethan Hunt.
Pete, welcome back. Films and Stuff. How are you today?
I am great, Ethan. How are you?
It is time for our weekly segment, Stream or Skip.
All right. It's very simple. Ethan has made a list of shows for me to watch. I have made a list of shows for Ethan to watch. We randomly select what show we're going to watch. We try to watch at least 2 episodes of that show. And then we decide on that basis, is it a show worth continuing to watch? Is it a show worth skipping? What is our initial thoughts on that show?
Those are the rules of engagement. And would you like to go first, or shall I this week?
No problem. Mine's going to be short and sweet.
All right.
Which is usually not a great thing for stream or skip.
Oh, yeah.
This week, I had to watch Fullmetal Alchemist. Now, as I pointed out last week, I was under the impression that this was based on a Japanese comic book series and that I thought it was like a TV show. I was incorrect. It is indeed based on a Japanese I guess it's called manga, or, it's basically a comic series in Japan. But instead of it being a TV show, it's a live action movie based on that. So normally we watch 2 or 3 episodes. I watched, let's say, 30 to 40 minutes of the show. 2 things. First of all, I did watch it subtitled. And honestly speaking, it was very difficult for me, this show, because I don't know the lore. I don't know anything about the comics. Here's what I got from it. It's about 2 brothers, one who's a robot and one who's a cyborg, and both of them are alchemists, i.e. magic users. So in this world, or in this universe, the practice of alchemy is the practice of magic. And they tried to bring their mother back from dead when they were children. And because that's a really bad kind of magic, they were cursed. One became a robot and one lost his arm and leg, and so had to get a prosthetic arm and leg.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Dark.
It's kind of weird. I'm not sure. I gave up about 30, 35, maybe 45 minutes into this movie. I can't remember. The action sequences are incredibly over the top. Very CGI heavy. Not a bad thing, but I'm just giving it to you. And incredibly ridiculous. So you know how, it's become a meme at this point. Like when you think of Bollywood movies, you see those crazy, ridiculous action sequences where, they grab a guy, throw him on a catapult, and in midair he turns into a bullet because they kind of want to emphasize that he's going super fast.
Yes.
It's just really ridiculous. And that's exactly what you saw here. Every action sequence was over the top ridiculous, which again could be based on the comics, but totally takes me out of it. That's the same reason I don't enjoy action sequences in most Bollywood movies. I'm not a big fan. And that's when I do understand the language. In this case, I had the double penalty of not being able to understand the language. And I don't know, after 30 minutes, 45 minutes, I could not tell you what the plot was going to be. I couldn't tell you. No idea. There was some kind of furry dog-like creature that could speak, which had a giant mustache. I don't know. It was just weird. And all of this, I think, comes down to the fact that these kinds of movies really are geared not for Ethans and Pete's. These are geared to people who are fans of the comic books. So if you don't know what the series is about, and if you're not a fan, I don't think you're going to enjoy this movie at all. It's my closest Western equivalent would be to something like Detective Pikachu, which came out maybe 3 years ago with Ryan Reynolds, based on the Nintendo characters of Pokemon. If you don't know the Pokemon story, if you don't know what Pokemon's about, which I don't expect most people to, you're not going to enjoy that movie, and that's exactly what happened here. So for me, it is a hard skip, with the heavy caveat that if you know the lore, why don't you do us a favor? Drop us a comment, drop us a line on Twitter, let us know why I'm wrong, and I'm open to it. If you can convince me that this is a movie I should watch and that there's some comics that I should read to get up on it, you all know I'm a comic book fan. I will get my hands on that comic. I will get into it. But based on this movie, I'm out.
So this is where I chime in and apologize for selecting such a miserable show. I'm really sorry, Pete. I did not know that it was a foreign language. I didn't know it was based on anime. I take responsibility. I'm sorry you wasted your 30 to 40 minutes.
Not at all. Not at all. That's exactly what Streamer Skip is for. And that's sometimes we find diamonds in the rough, and that's the whole point of it.
And I can also assure you, this was not my vindictive attempt at payback after you chose hard sell for me.
What about God's favorite idiot?
Also, if you do combine those two together, it makes my case a little bit more compelling. But no, it absolutely was not intentional whatsoever.
Sure. What about you?
So I had Amazon Studios, the Terminal List, which sounds a little bit like an airplane, but it's not. It is a action thriller. It was released in July 2022. It stars Chris Pratt, Star-Lord.
Okay.
And apparently it's based on a book. And apparently Chris Pratt was also one of the developers. And he bought the rights along with some other folks. And it was actually Amazon who picked it up. It wasn't originally created by Amazon. They picked it up after it was made or while it was being made. So it's pretty straightforward. And it stars, again, Chris Pratt playing the leader of a Navy SEAL unit. They are ambushed. He's the only survivor. And we toggle between what is real and what is imagined. It's very, very conspiratorial. As it is described in its own description says, dark forces working against him, endangering him and the lives of those he loved. And I just stifled a big yawn. I mean, that just sounds like the most boring, generic, created by like some AI program plot I've ever heard, right? So let's talk about the good and the not so good about this. I mean, I'll give a spoiler alert. I'm giving this a mooch. And the reason is Chris Pratt gives a very, very enthusiastic performance as a Navy SEAL. Really, I believed in him being a Navy SEAL. It was a little bit over the top. The SEALs are his life, God, Navy, country. He's the smartest guy in the room. He's the most dedicated guy in the room. He's the most physically fit and agile and the best shooter and the best puncher and everything. In that way, it's a little bit over the top, but he is a hero, so I'll go for it. But I give him full credit for really diving in and owning that role. The downside is, and I'd also say another positive is that the production value is high. It's not made, it's not over the top expensive. You don't see, the dramatic explosions and pyrotechnics, but it's made in a proper budgeted way. The downside for me is that it is far too conspiratorial. The plot, as I just kind of read, it's about a large corporation that's in cahoots with the government, and they've got to somehow get rid of Chris Pratt because he's the only person who can put the pieces together and bring down this big company/government conspiracy, right? Jai Courtney, remember him?
Yeah. Martial artist extraordinaire.
Is the bad guy. The
wonderful
CEO bad guy. Patrick Schwarzenegger is in it. Arnold's son. And also, I did not know.
Right?
Chris Pratt's brother-in-law.
Yeah, because he married Catherine Schwarzenegger a couple years
Yep.
ago.
And Riley Keough, who's the granddaughter of Elvis.
Oh, okay.
So, and I only say this because Pratt was obviously pretty clever in terms of who he kind of recruited to be in this movie. I mean, it had to get made. It needed, like a lot of star value in addition to himself. He definitely picked some big names. Everyone gives a very good performance. There's no bad acting. My only, again, complaint is that it's very cookie cutter with a conspiracy. There's nothing really here that's new, that, is interesting or different or makes you sit up and take notice.
Sorry to interrupt you. This sounds like a plot of a cheesy 80s/90s Steven Seagal movie. Is this a movie or like a bunch of episodes?
No, it's a bunch of episodes. And again, it's absolutely watchable. And it's probably the right thing for Amazon as well. If you're looking for something of the genre, it absolutely ticks all the boxes. Star value, it's got action, it's a little bit thriller, it's got everything kind of that you want. Again, it's absolutely a mooch, but it's nowhere close to a subscribe just because there's nothing really interesting. The conspiracy from the absolute beginning, you kind of know that there's going to be a conspiracy. You don't really know how deep it goes, but then honestly, it just goes so berserk in terms of, the government, Jai Courtney's company working together, Chris Pratt, the only guy in the world who would be able to, put this together, the way that they erase footage and delete records and witnesses disappear. To be honest, the cookie cutter type stuff, right?
It's a little Jack Reacher-esque.
Yeah. He doesn't trust anybody, doesn't use phones, no GPS. They're always going to find him and track him down. But somehow, despite all these resources and everything, no one can kill him. They've got very bad aim. He can kill everybody with a headshot, like immediately with a pistol. He can beat everybody up. Even though they've got 50 bad guys after him, he can just kind of mow through everybody. To me, it was too much, but I give Chris Pratt a lot of credit for his role. The production value is good. It's absolutely worth, kind of keeping on in the background. It's a mooch, absolute mooch. Nothing more, nothing less.
I mean, what you're saying sounds generic, but it doesn't sound bad.
No, it's not bad.
Fine. I think, it sounds like a low bar, but in terms of filling out content for your platform, that's almost exactly what you want.
Yeah. At no point was I like, oh, I can't watch this anymore. I've got to turn it off. Like I said, I watched 5 episodes, and at the end of every episode, I absolutely could have stopped. There was no big cliffhanger that I had to kind of go on to the next episode. But I was also kind of, playing some video game in the background. I was checking my phone. I was scrolling through Instagram. I wasn't missing anything, He's in the dark wearing all black and a ski mask, and he's shooting everybody, because he's got night vision goggles and no one else can figure out, where it's coming from. It's nothing I haven't seen before. So it's a solid mooch. You won't hate it. I'd be surprised if anyone ever wrote to us and said, how dare you say that about the Terminal List? It is the best action thriller ever made. I don't think we'll get that comment.
If you do feel that way, please leave a comment. Please send us an email. We will apologize to you personally.
I'm not sure if I'd apologize, but I'd absolutely love to hear the rationale.
That's true.
But I would not apologize.
We'll gladly have you on to discuss the benefits.
And get a free hoodie. So that is stream or skip. But now, Pete, your favorite part, my favorite part, and I already know the answer. What do we have for next week?
All right, so we're both staying local onto HBO Max next week.
Local.
Where you will be watching The Tourist, and I will be watching Industry.
I'm going to guess that you're going to love Industry. I have no idea what The Tourist is about. it's either a Johnny Depp spy thriller or it's Susan Sarandon coming of age.
I too have no idea what the industry is about. I haven't even heard of the show. I just saw the cover art for the poster. It looked like season 12 of The Apprentice. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's a bunch of people in suits. So I imagine there's some kind of either legal or business element to it.
Intrigue. So we're going opposite directions, a tourist and either legal or business.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We'll see.
Tune in next week where Pete and I give our ratings for these two new shows.
Absolutely. And if you want to tell me why I am absolutely a fool for dismissing Fullmetal Alchemist, because I am a fan of comics, don't get me wrong. It's not my genre. Japanese comics are not my thing normally, but that doesn't mean I'm not open to trying. So if you have compelling reasons why I should be reading the comics and then watching the shows, leave a comment on this video. Send us an email, aloha@filmsandstuffpodcast.com, or tweet at us at FNSPodcast and tell me, hey, Pete, you really need to get on this, and this is why.
That does not apply to me. I will not email you and ask you.
Perfect. And more importantly, if you also have more shows that you think we should put on our stream or skip list, which is rapidly dwindling, let us know. Drop us a line. Tell us that, hey, these are the 5 or 6 shows I've heard about.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it. Why don't you put it on your stream or skip list? We will gladly do the dirty work for you.
I think, Pete, we should make a on-air commitment now that by next week, in addition to watching our shows and doing our ratings, we should refresh our streamer skip lists for each other, because we started with 30-something each. And
we're down to about 12 or 15, something like that. We're about halfway through.
Yeah, let's do that.
In any case, thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this week's episode of Stream or Skip.
Thank you, everyone. We'll catch you next week. Thank you, Pete.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Films and Stuff. If you haven't already, please subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are downloaded. Films and Stuff. There is no substitute.